Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in this video I want to take a close look at the HD Retro game, the 16-bit video game entertainment system, or known as the SEGA Genesis from AliExpress, the device that basically can do it all. And what do I mean with do it all? But okay, so this is then maybe the ultimate system that we can buy from AliExpress. And what do I mean with ultimate system? So this device has a lot of options and that is quite interesting. So what do I mean with options? So first of all, we can just use the original controllers over here. It comes even with wireless controllers, so you don't need to plug in any dongle if you don't want to. Then we're going to get the option for here. Then we're going to get the audio out, the jack that we have with the Mega Drive 1. We're going to get the option for original cartridges. And at the back we're going to get even more options. Stuff that we didn't see before. But let's take a close look at the back, because here we're going to get the option for different regions, so you can basically use every single cartridge. We're going to get the 5-volt input from the micro USB. Then we're going to get the option for adding an SD card, so basically they got yourself like a built-in Everdrive. Then we're going to get AV out old school style. Then we're going to get the aspect ratio can be changed if you're using a flat panel, and we're going to get ourselves here the HDMI out. So this thing has it all. But then it's the question, how good is the quality when it comes to playing the game? Because that sign kind of sucks sometimes when it comes to the clone system from AliExpress. But okay, so how about the game compatibility? That's also we're going to try. We're going to do HDMI capture. And yep, for the people wondering, if you want to have an attachment like this, no, that doesn't work. And that also includes for the Sega CD. So what you're going to get basically is this 16-bit fake power. And we're going to see if we can play some cartridges like combination cards and other things. But how about the cartridge slot? So this thing, once I accept the cartridges very well, but they won't give it back. Like you can prior, you can just wiggle around. The wiggling seems to be working, but that's always the case with these cheap China clones, that they are very tight. Okay, so for the first test I wanted to try out the CRT function. I must say I'm quite surprised. Look at this, like the image, I'm hoping the camera picks it up. Like it looks amazing, and I must say that I am very satisfied with it. But there is only one downside I'm already noticing. So let's listen to the Xenocrisis tune and you can hear it, there is something pretty damn messed up. You hear this weird sound effect? That is not normal. So and that's the main problem what we're going to get with most of these clone systems. So let's try a game and just see how this will work out when we're actually going to play a freaking game.
Clear.
So when you're actually going to play the game, you don't notice it, like the weird sound effects and the audio is slightly messed up. Okay, so but the next level is for the testing is 3D Rage number 2. So you can hear like the soundtrack effect, there's nothing wrong with it, but the music. That is not like it should be. And that somehow they cannot manage to get the perfect audio with these freaking things. But in the other hand, when you're listening to the sound effects, they are like just fine. Alright, so what are we going to get with the controller? So the controller is your typical Chinese knockoff controller. And yep, it feels really cheap. Like the buttons feel such a weird, like when you're holding an original controller, you can feel its quality. You can just feel it with the D-pad here. Like it's this weird floating D-pad. It feels really strange. Then we're going to get two AAA batteries at the back. So this is basically what we're going to get. So is this a great controller? Not really. I will give it a 5 out of 10. So it's not really bad, but it's also not really good. Okay, but what if you just want to use a different controller? That's another awesome feature for this device. So first of all, I just want to point out this controller is not super bad. I've played with it a couple of times now. I must say that I really get used to the D-pad now. And in overall quality, it's not bad. But of course, nothing beats the 8-bit though, M30. This one is just amazing. So let's plug this thing in and let's see if it works. Okay, so with the original Sega, it has a lot of issues getting it in. But weirdly, like, This fits in perfectly with the Chinese clone, so that's kind of funny. Okay, but there's one thing you need to take consideration. You need to turn it off, you need to pull out the batteries of the original controller that came with it, because so far I can see there is no on and off switch, so yeah, that's a little bit of a bummer. It's an epic fail in my opinion, but when you connect the original controller, or in my case the M30, this thing works like a charm, so we can play the games with the wireless controller. So if this thing ever breaks, it's no problem, because we can always fix it with the M30. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the game compatibility. So first of all, we're going to try out Virtual Racing, or we're basically not going to try it out because this is what's happening. Messed around with the settings on the back with the region, but nothing works. So this is the end result, and Virtual Racing, in my opinion, doesn't work on this device. Okay, so next up I wanted to try Paul game. This is Street of Rage number 2, and somehow some of the settings of the region doesn't really work. You can see over here the game seems to be booting up just fine. I'm getting the idea, like with the HDMI functionality, it even sounds more messed up than it already was. But okay, so booting up the game, we're going to get of course the same result, that the audio is like not like it should be. It's kind of weird. But there was something else that I've noticed. But the annoying part about this system is when I wanted to boot it up in the normal PAL mode, not the Japanese, because it supports PAL and Japanese, but this is what we're going to get with it, like this weird scrolling image. Don't know, but it's pretty damn messed up. Okay, so with the same settings of the region, just try to play a normal PAL game, but everything sounds quite messed up, and the system doesn't like my Sonic D cartridge. Here you can see finally we're going to get an image. I don't know if the camera picks it up, but you can see some weird artifacts going on over there, and this is just an actual issue of the system itself. So let's add Knuckles to it and let's see what happens then. Okay, well it's cool that Sonic 3 and Knuckles cartridge is possible to combine on this machine. And the reason why, because a lot of these fake ones don't have the great support for it. But the one thing I do notice is that my save files are all gone. And it's kind of weird because that wasn't supposed to be happening. Don't know what's going on, but it's not good. Okay, so already shown you Xenocrisis, just wanted to show you briefly again on the HDMI functionality. It looks amazing. But take consideration, like this game is multi-region, so you can basically play this on every single region you want. So the settings of the small button on the back doesn't make any sense for this game. But very cool to play this game actually on an HDMI. Okay, I just wanted to briefly show you that we can boot up a multi-game card. Makes no sense because this thing actually has like a freaking SD function built in. Let's boot it up so we show that it actually works. We're still going to get the same issue, because this is such a weird thing with the freaking system. Also, like always with freaking Street of Rage 2. But in the end, like, it boot up and seems to work on multi-cards. And if you want to use an Everdrive for some reason, because it's pretty damn pointless, because the thing got built in Everdrive, also supports Everdrives. So that is also a possibility if you want to play it like that. Okay guys, so let's take a close look with the system when there is no game installed, because then we're going to get the special menu that is inside. So then we're going to get the left side built in, and yep, it comes with a couple of games built in. Take consideration, you need to have the settings of the button correctly installed. If you're going to put it on a different region, it's highly possible the game doesn't even boot up, also with the built-in ones. And there are a lot of familiar games, and here you can see like we do have a lot of interesting titles. When you're choosing the game, then basically you're getting the loading screen for a couple of seconds, and you're going to get the boot sequence. Going to get the weird alien logo, and the games are built in. A couple of them are, so far you can see, for the Russian market, I think. So you can see everything is in a completely different language. Okay, so when we reset, what we're going to get is that we're going to get in the multi-game card system again. Pressing reset again, we're going to get to the SD function. So let's see what happens if we're going to boot it up without an SD card. I think it just freezes. Oh, there we're going to get. So we're going to get the menu here. So let's boot it up with an SD card installed. Okay, so when booting up the SD card with some files installed, you're going to get the option here to load up your file. It's quite interesting if you ask me. Then we're going to even get some ROM hacks. So we have like infinite life, stuff like that. Pressing start, giving the same loading, a couple of seconds, and load up instantly. Fun fact is like this loads, I think it loads up even faster than the most Everdrives, or better said, like the fake Everdrive that I've seen before. Of course, the audio will still be messed up, because yeah, actually, like that's just the main problem of the freaking machine. Time to become beefcake, baby. kick him in the balls. Okay, so when it comes to playing some games, I must say that I was quite surprised to see when it comes to the functionality. Sadly, about the audio, it's a little bit of a bummer. If they will fix that issue, I think you would almost have like the ultimate machine. Because this thing can always play every single game because it's region unlocked. And if you're done with the game, press the reset again and it goes back to the main menu. And again, press it again. We're going to get to the actually like main menu. That's it. That's basically how the machine works when it comes to all the functionalities built in. Okay guys, so let's take a close look at some gameplay and capture it from the HDMI signal. And you also can hear like how the audio is actually when you're playing it on your television. So here I'm going to do briefly an overview of a couple of games. And not to forget, let's check the scaling. It has been set by 16:9, but with the switch, even when you're playing a game, you can just switch it back by clicking it to the 4:3 aspect ratio option. And you can just switch between them when you're playing, so you don't need to reset the console itself. But let's play some games and let's test the audio just in the original 4:3 aspect ratio.
From your grave.
Alright guys, so let's do a quick teardown, and yeah, there was something that was messed up. As you can see over here, the button is just wiggling around because it didn't fit over there. So there's some issues or some quality issue that I had with this device when it came in. As you can see over here, so it's a little bit of a bummer, but we're going to open it up because these things are like easy peasy to open it up already. The seal has already been broken, as you can see over there. So that's the thing that we're going to do, break the seal and be naughty, because that is wicked's way. Okie dokie, so let's turn it around, let's remove the 4 Parkers, the shiny ones, and let's open it up and let's see how this thing looks. So first of all, yep, the design is very simple. Like here you can see the springs, and this is a common problem that these things get loose over some time, because it's just a very cheap construction. So here is what we're going to get in the inside. There are a couple of PCBs inside, and that is because there's a multi-guard inside and of course the SD functionality. But let's take a closer look at all of these parts and let's do a quick teardown. Okay, so here at the top we're going to get the PCB for the input for and the output, of course. The input for the power and output for the signal. Input for the, yeah, do I say correctly? The input for the power and output for the signal. Yeah, okay. Didn't have a brain fart today. So, but the thing is, like, what I find quite interesting is that everything how it's made. Like there are a lot of old school ribbon cables, the expensive flat cables. Getting this freaking thing out is going to be a freaking disaster. You can see like they squeeze it up. Just want to see what is under it, like when it comes to production date and that kind of things. So here you can see this thing has been made in 2020, so this thing is now around like a couple of, no, I was a couple of years old now, so it's not like a brand new product that just rolled out of the factory. Here we're going to get the chip, that number doesn't say anything to me. And here we're going to get the chip or the main board itself. So let's take a close look at that, because that is quite interesting. So first of all, what we're going to get, let's take a close look at this one. So this PCB, so what I think it is, it's a, or I think it's partly or it's full, like this is the 2.4 gigahertz controller unit for the wireless controllers. So that is basically what you're going to get with this one. When you're going to turn it around, then here you can see like we're going to get a QS860 chip. Did some googling, couldn't find some information, but in the end what we're going to get, this thing is been made in 2020, also includes the connector for the cartridge itself. So here we're going to see like there are a lot of stuff that they use in this, that is something else. Like there's a lot of parts. Normally we're going to get like an empty shell that smells chemical, that's it. But this time it's going to be quite fancy. And this board is, by the way, made in 2019. And let's talk about the third and the last PCB that also contains the controller port and the LED over there. But what I find even more interesting is this slider. The slider for the jack output. And that is something you don't see very often with these Chinese knockoff systems. So when you're looking at this machine, it's quite fancy, it has a lot of features. But yeah, when you're looking at everything else and think about the functionality of the audio, it's a little bit of a bummer. The question remains, is this the ultimate machine from AliExpress? I think if you're looking at AliExpress, yep, I think this is the best AliExpress clone at the moment you can find, especially when it comes to all the functionalities what this device has to offer. But when you're looking at this device, yeah, it has so many freaking issues, especially with the audio. Something cannot manage to fix it. Every single device I've reviewed have issues with the audio, and most of them are like having other problems too. But this one is maybe like the best one when it comes to the AliExpress series. Why? Because it has a great compatibility, but also it has a lot of options like AV out and HDMI out. But of course the compatibility, there we're going to get still a lot of issues. Sonic 3 and Knuckles works, Xenocrisis works, Virtual Racing doesn't work, and Street of Rage 2, but yeah, the audio sucks. But yeah guys, that concludes my video. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this. I want to thank you for watching, consider subscribing, hit that little bell, become one of the Wicked family, and we'll see you in the next video.